Why is it that you have to complicate everything to make things simple? It's just part of it, Jay. Let's do this. What's up, FTFers? JJ coming at you today. Today, I want to talk about, should civilians have plate armor? For me, is actually very simple. Yes. I think the number one reason is there are people out there that don't want you to have one. And that's reason enough for me to get one. Now, there's a lot of examples of plate carriers online, but let's talk about gear that could actually save your life. This is not a tactical loadout showcase. This is for real civilians facing real problems. Now, if you actually want to see a video on plate carrier setup, then let me know in the comments section and we can make that happen. What the hell? Wow, that guy is low too. It's hot today, there's bugs and airplanes. We're gonna get through this though. Take a swig. Man, that's good. Now, I have intentionally not set these up. These are not complete. I've done that on purpose because this isn't about how to set it up. This is about considerations for why you should have armor. And so I think that leads us into part one. Why do you need body armor? Well, for me, it comes down to two things. Are you static or are you mobile? One thing that I could think of is maybe you were static, you were at your home, you're defending your home, or maybe it's your business. Think about the Koreans on top of the rooftops. Anybody who's been in a defensible position before will tell you the people out there, they have the jump on you. And so there's a need for a layer of protection. Other things that I can think of, riots, active shooter, civil unrest. And what made me think about this was literally back in 2021, I had to go to Atlanta during the BLM riots and I had to extract somebody. Now, that's actually a really good story, and I had outside help with that as well. And if y'all want to see a video on that and what I did and how I did it, let me know in the comments. It would actually make a really good video. But right now, we're seeing all the peaceful protests that are going on, and it made me think about that. What if I had to go do that right now? What I'm trying to formulate is a modern Minuteman mindset. Basically protecting your home and your family and friends when no one else can. I mean, really, would you trust complete strangers to protect the ones that you love when the streets are on fire? Now, I gotta confess, when I was coming up with this modern day Minuteman mindset series, I was actually going to put chest rigs in front of body armor, but because of what's going on around us in the country, I really felt like I needed to talk about this first. Because in my professional career, I wore chest rigs all the time. And very seldomly would I ever wear body armor. But that was in a team setting, and we had lots of support that I don't have now that I'm retired. And so you have to kind of change your mindset a little bit when you're in a civilian setting. And there's a lot to be said about your setup and how you do that based on the mission and set and all that. Are you by yourself? Are you with people, etc.? That's not what this is about. I digress. Let's get back to what we were talking about. The next thing that I think we need to talk about is just armor basics for civilians. Which, number one, are you gonna go for steel plates or are you gonna go ceramic? Now, there's pros and cons to everything. For example, with steel plates, you can take multiple hits in theory. Ceramic plates, the best advantage there is that they're actually pretty light. I mean, this one, they're only 6 pounds per plate. And I can tell you that that's a significant difference from my steel plates. There's also considerations with money. I mean, when I started out buying my own stuff, obviously I bought steel. And that was simply just because that's what I could afford. And I purchased them knowing that I was going to purchase ceramic plates later on. Now, let's say that in the future I do get shot and I live, I've got something to fall back on. Another thing to consider is maybe you're the one with the tactics. And so you've got all of this stuff and you've got to extract somebody. And so you keep a slick plate carrier just for them. Not to mention if you're at home and you have a spouse and you have kids, I mean, you got to think about them as well. They probably don't have the same mindset as you. They probably don't have the same training as you. Plate carriers are good for protecting assets. Now, if y'all been keeping up with the series, we actually got to test the RTS zero penetration level 4 ceramic plates. They did awesome. And that weighed very heavily on my decision to get those. But ultimately, you'll have to decide whether you want to go with steel or you want to go with ceramic. One thing I can tell you for sure, if you're not used to training with a bunch of weight, this steel is going to take you for a ride. And something that I don't think gets talked about enough is the comfort of wearing your armor. I would put comfort very high on the list. Now there are lots and lots of companies out there that produce the nylon for these things, and seriously, I mean, I could sit here and I could name names all day long, but seriously, I mean, armor ranges somewhere between, you know, $50 for the cheap stuff, and then, you know, the price of an actually, I mean, a really good used car. What I would suggest is this is not something you're going to use all of the time. You're not in a professional setting more than likely. Buy what you can afford, train with it, and then you'll get to see other setups and rigs, and then you can make another purchase decision based on your actual experience. But I would not buy the first rig that you see online. Watch a lot of videos, do a lot of research, read a lot of the information on the websites. And if you're fortunate enough to have somebody in your life that actually uses them, get their advice. Understand that armor is a tool. It's probably not a lifestyle choice for you. Now, the third thing that I want to talk about, Now the third thing that I want to talk about is an actual practical setup. Like I said, in a civilian setting, the mindset has to be a little bit different than when you're in a supported position. Now for me, I try to keep it pretty simple. I keep the fight on my chest and a bag for the rest. Now for me, I like to keep it kind of simple. I try to keep 3 right here on the front. Then I keep 1 in the actual weapon itself, and then I keep another one that's on my belt. Sometimes I even run 2, and then I typically keep 2 more inside of the pack. Now, one mistake that newbies make, and believe me, I have fallen victim to this myself, is they see exposed molly and they think I've got to put something there. Try to stay away from that trap if you can. I have literally spent hours and hours with different molly setups trying to find the perfect setup. And the temptation is there when you first get a plate carrier to go ahead and just, I mean, deck it out. I'm going to try to encourage you to do what I didn't do. Keep it simple when you first start out. And here's a few ideas. Maybe you just keep 3 mags on your chest. Make sure that you keep all of your medical stuff together. Tourniquets, can you get to it with both hands? Keep an IFAK in a place where you can actually reach it. I keep all my medical stuff on one side, and then I keep all my accessories and other supporting gear, the accoutrement, on the other side. I make sure that it doesn't go all the way around me. I make sure that I can reach the stuff. I also make sure that it doesn't interfere with drawing my pistol, getting in my pockets. You don't want a lot of bulky stuff because of your sling. It's gonna get caught up. If it can, I promise you, it definitely will. So minimize your snag hazards. That's really important. How you actually set up the cummerbund, that's pretty important in relation to where your rifle sling comes out. And there's other considerations as well, like getting in and out of a vehicle. Back in the day when I was fully tacked out, getting into the front of a police car, what a pain in the butt. You really have limited space. And if you can't move inside of there, you're a sitting duck. Now when I set mine up, I try to have everything like right here so that it's tactically efficient. But I try to make sure that there's space for my hands to fall so that I can actually get into my pockets and so that I can actually draw my pistol if I need to. And I definitely keep the back clear as well so that I can get in and out of vehicles. Now, if you get one of the backpacks that actually goes on the back of your armor, that can make it really difficult. To get into the pack, you either have to have somebody access it for you or you have to take the entire carrier off to get to it. So I tend to keep the back of my carrier slick for that very reason. That's why I have a backpack. I can just easily take it off, put it in my lap, down in between my legs, whatever the case may be. And if I'm out in the field, it's pretty easy for me to take it off. It's also really nice to act as a rest if I'm shooting from the prone position. If you have a lot of stuff here on the front, getting in the prone position is weird. It's like this teeter-tottering seesaw effect. And if you've ever been on a two-way range before, you understand you cannot get far enough into the ground. The 2 words of the day are being tactically efficient. Make sure that you can get to all the stuff, even if you are laying down on your stomach. All I'm trying to say here is avoid over-accessorizing. What not to do, don't get bulky setups. Watch out for morale patches, okay? Be smart. You don't want to become the target. Another thing you might want to watch out for is camouflage. You don't typically want to go in there. You want to look professional. I know that sounds weird and it sounds counterintuitive, but let's talk about riots, for example. You don't want to show up looking like the gorilla in the middle of all that chaos. I would highly suggest that you keep things neutral, and if you want to kind of camouflage things out so it'll work in both a city or urban environment and a woodland environment, then, you know, get some of your earth tones and keep things uniform. Like maybe all of your GP pouches, etc., are black, the carrier is green, and the mag carriers are FDE or coyote or whatever. Believe me, I've been in that situation before. The police recognized me immediately and I was free to do what I needed to do. But understand, that took some pre-thought before I did that. The idea is to stay neutral and not look like a threat. I mean, do what you're gonna do. Every environment and every situation is different, but just something to think about. Another thing to think about are real world factors like hot spots. Let me give you a real world example of that. So back in the day, I was trying to buy the best of the best stuff. And so like this is a Tactical Tailor IFAC, and look at these mounting system solutions that they have on there. I mean, they're really nice. They're plastic, but they're really hard. If this hangs below your cummerbund, every single time that you move forward, that plastic is gonna cut into you. And believe me, it sucks. It is so irritating. So I would say watch out for, you know, even though it may cost a ton of money is what I'm getting at, but make sure that you think about these things. You put on your kit, you move around with it, you train with it, etc., to make sure there are no hot spots. Another big hot spot is right here, right on your neck. A lot of us carry shamogs that we can wear there if you're not wearing like a collared shirt. As a result, I try not to get things that are too bulky. I try to keep things on my cummerbund about the size of the cummerbund itself. This reduces snag hazards and it also reduces hot spots. And once again, if you can't gain access to all the things that you need, make sure to keep the fight on your chest and a bag for the rest. And one more quick tip before we go. Do you have your mask, your gas mask kit ready to go? I keep mine over here on this leg and out of the way of everything else. All right, guys, this video is not about, you know, looking cool. It's about gear for survival. We're pushing mindset and mobility over looks. Plate carrier does not make you tactical, but it could help you survive long enough to get home. Now, in closing, there's 100 million different ways to do this, guys, and I would never tell you, like, this is the way. You are ultimately going to have to decide what your loadout is. So tell you what, get in the comments section, let me know about your loadout philosophies and we can talk about it. And if I see enough stuff in there that is, you know, it warrants talking about, then we'll make a follow-up video to this. Because there's a lot of things that I didn't cover, like water and your gloves, being able to cover up your face, and there's a whole lot more. So there's a lot for us to talk about in the comments section. If you're honey smack digging, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And until next time, y'all, keep fueling those fires.